Hi, thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to do a reading very shortly. I'm going to say we because you're going to be picking the cards as we go, or maybe you're going to pick all five, but we'll do a 5-card reading from the Sirian Starseed Tarot, and we'll have a look into the Keepers of the Light deck by Kyle Gray as well, just to see what Kyle Gray has got to say about all this. It's all about the new moon, which is coming up. It's going to be 5 AM UK time, so that's going to be midnight right at the beginning of Wednesday the 13th of January, or 9 PM Pacific on Tuesday the 12th. If you're watching in the future, don't worry about it, friends. You've been drawn to this for a reason. Okay, the reading I'm about to do will mean something to you. I'm absolutely sure of that. Okay, so before I go into the reading, let's just take a look at where 21 is going, and most of this is coming from astrology because this is a reading all about the new moon. And January 2021 it's a bit like a building site, you know. It's not an easy place to be. Nothing is convenient, nothing is exactly as it should be, and that's sort of okay because really nothing is the way that it's going to end up at the moment. It's a journey really, and it's about getting into a much more loving world, a much more comfortable world in which people can express themselves, people can actually live their lives. 2020, well, you don't need me to tell you that in lots of ways it was a terrible year, because it really was blooming awful. But we've moved on from that now. That's the bottom line. We're seeing all the crazy election stuff going on in the USA at the moment, and that's having repercussions all over the world. But at the same time, as you're watching this, I'm sure that you would know that we've very nearly reached the end of all that craziness. There's only a matter of days now until the 20th of January, when everything's got to be cut and dried by then. It's the law. So we are, it's not easy. We're going through birthing pains of the future here, and that really is what January 21 is like in terms of the whole of 2021. Because the whole year is looking much faster. It's sort of rebellious. We're seeing lots of people taking action, and there's a lot of people getting a shock as well. It's all about freedom, and it's all about awakening. So again, it's about getting into that much more comfortable view of life, that position, that situation where life is going to make sense and things are going to appear to be working out, and we can all calm down a bit. And then as we go through this year and future years, it will all be about settling down and actually being ourselves, being who we are, and being in a much better situation that way. So this new moon is coming in at 23 degrees and 13 minutes of the sign of Capricorn, and it's half a degree from a Saturn Capricorn conjunction, only about half a degree away from that. So mastery of emotions is going to come into it, and that is a very, very tall order. That's a difficult thing to do. It very rarely works out the way we'd like it to, but the point is it works out for the best. And when everything's said and done, and when it's all kind of over, bar the shouting, and we just have the shouting left to do, we can kind of shout in comfort, and we can shout with our own voices, and that has got to be good news. It really has. So look to the future, that's what this time in history and in astrology, in the history of the world and the universe, as it were, that's what this time is all about, really. And because this is the first new moon of January, it's a great time to set intentions. And the questions are, I'm sure we all know what intentions we've got, but which intentions are we going to sort of pick out, single out, and set as things that are going to be important to us as we go into 2021 and actually start going through it all? The old ways, the power struggles, that kind of thing, all those things are being smashed out of the way this year. I was talking about freedom and awakening. Truth as well, it's being absolutely demanded at the moment, because as we go through January, just about every planet that there is actually square, and in a fairly long-term square to something else at the moment, and that means there's no kind of placating people. You can calm people down for sure, and I think we can all calm ourselves down a bit as well. But if you've ever been in a situation where you're just trying to kind of calm a person down and persuade them that there's no point going nuts about things, This is a very kind of crazy time for anything like that, because it's not going to be easy. In fact, it's probably not even going to be possible, actually, because freedom and truth are absolutely being demanded. Uranus has been retrograde and is going to station direct on the 14th of January, just about a day, wherever you are in the world, just about a day after we go into this new moon. And what are we going to do in all this craziness? Well, really, the heart, your heart, the human heart, is the anchor in all this. That's really what you need to focus on. But we'll do some cards in a second, and we'll find out exactly, you know, what the cards have to say about it, which is going to be a much more interesting kettle of fish. But there we are. That's what this reading's all about. We're going to go into it now, and here we go. Card 1. So I've had a shuffle. This deck just doesn't fit inside the camera, whatever I do. I've got the camera as far away as I can get it at the moment, but never mind. Here we are, it's the way it's meant to be, no doubt. So we'll turn over card number 1 and see what we've got. Oh, card number 1 is the 7 of Crystals, and here we've got Glastonbury Tour. If you saw the review I did for this deck, then this was one I really picked out and talked about. I've been to Glastonbury Tour. It's a very, very ancient site. The hill you see there has been there for at least 5,000 years, and it's man-made. It's in an area where it's completely flat, you know, all the geography around there is completely flat, and people have built that hill up with an immense amount of effort. And there's a freestanding church tower on the top. There's no church behind it. There used to be. That is St. Michael's Tower. And there is the sage sitting on a carpet with the crystals in front of him or her. And I have actually bought a crystal from someone on Glastonbury Tour that looked a bit like that, so this is very kind of close to my heart, this card. It was a long journey for me to actually just even discover that Glastonbury Tour was a thing, and then I travelled there, and that was a long journey, and it was a very long climb up the tour as well. So it's kind of, you've done a lot of work, you know, that's what this card is showing. You've done a lot of work, and you might really feel like you know what you're doing and you know where you're going. But 2021 has a way of questioning those things. And the question here is, are you actually where you expected to be in life? In, you know, career, financial security, that side of things comes out more with the 7 of Crystals. But anywhere in your life, you know, are you actually where you expected to be? Not so much happy with it, but where you expect to be. Are you like frustrated that you're not really getting what you want from your efforts? Is your dream seeming to collapse? You know, dreams happen in the end. Collapse of dreams is only a temporary thing, but, you know, is your dream of life really collapsing or feels that way? Are you starting to think your view of life is just wrong and you're not going to make it? That's always a mistake. You know, this is card number 1 in the reading, and we will actually go further forward from that. If you just picked card number 1, well, take heart. You know, it's a bit like the 4 of Cups in one way. You don't actually need to feel as bad as you feel if you're really feeling that bad at the moment. Things are bound to pick up. The only way is up when you get a card like this. But if you picked all 5, then, you know, this is the beginning. And this is, I think, what a great many of us feel like at the beginning of 2021. Card 2. And it is Karma. And I don't know if you can see it there, but it's number 20. It's just XX up there, which is Roman numerals for 20. That's how the Romans put it. And Karma, well, what a massive subject that is. We can see an image of the crown chakra very faintly above the pool of water that's in the middle of the card there. So there is a lot of spiritual communication involved at this point. And karma is like that, you know. Many people think that karma is really crime and punishment. You know, you get karma if you've done something wrong. Well, you know, you can get good karma, you can get average karma, you can get sort of in-between karma. It's all about real, it has been called, karma has been called the science of your relationship with God. Now, that is only one way of looking at it, and I have every respect for people who don't see this as a God thing, maybe don't actually believe in God. And there are many gifted astrologers who don't actually believe in God but still see the workings of the universe going on in this way outside of our world and actually playing into our world as well. For karma to really work well, you need to kind of be you need to be a forgiving sort of a person, and that's something that many of us have to develop through the course of our life. Forgiving other people and forgiving yourself as well is really important when this card comes up, because this is really our sort of first step forward on the journey of this reading. Card number 3 in the middle is going to be the heart of the matter, and it's kind of going to relate both ways. But we're on card 2 here, and this is karma. This card's really inviting you not just to think about the karma that joins people together, but to help you sort of understand that somehow questions are going to be answered, you know, and there are some questions here listed in the book for this card, and I'll go through those actually, because it's a very good book that comes with this deck. Do I walk my talk? Have I learned how I have created everything in my world? What were the karmic lessons to be learned? Have I learned them? Well, I mean, that's only, I'm going to say some more in a minute about that actually. But let's just look at those ones, you know. Do I walk my talk? I think that's something we all need to ask ourselves as we're going forward, because it is very important that the way our lives play out is in keeping with what we actually believe, what we actually think is important. If it's not, that can lead to psychological breakdown as much as anything. And it's just going to lead to a feeling of general sort of weakness that life isn't working out, you know. So the next one then, have I learned how I have created everything in my world? And that really, really does get involved, you know, when you think about do I walk my talk and the importance of that. We do actually create the world around us. That is an absolute fact. Even if we're not where we would like to be in life, even if we're unhappy, there's something we've done to create that, maybe even in a past life. And it's not necessarily something we should feel guilty about. Maybe this is the product of the way our lives have been. Maybe there's nothing we can actually do about it. But if that's the case, the 1,000-petal lotus flower is up at the top of this card here, above the water and just underneath the number 20. So there is always going to be some kind of cosmic guidance, some spiritual guidance, something your higher self already knows, maybe, that will help you create a better future, just bring that better future into reality and actually generate it as we go along. So also, have I learned the karmic lessons? Well, that is a big question, isn't it? I don't think we ever learn all of them until we reach the end of our life. And that, I suspect once we know the answers to all those lessons, I don't think the end of physical life is very far away there. Because it is actually what we're called into this world to experience and to work with. So maybe you haven't, but a bit like I said with the 7 of crystals and all those questions, the only way is up. Now the book also says, am I truly ready for a transformational epiphany? What is an epiphany, I hear you ask? Well, epiphany is the name that the church gives to the return of the light when we get to, it's something like January the 6th, I think, when we're a good sort of week or so, maybe 2 weeks or so after the winter solstice. Yeah, it's a fortnight after the winter solstice, and the light is starting to come back in, and Epiphany tends to be a spiritual view of that. So that's what that means. Are you actually ready for the light to really start coming in again? To make an analogy, I've got lots of seeds to plant because I grow my own vegetables and tobacco and stuff, and I'm really not ready to plant them yet, and I should be, because it's that time of year. So that's kind of the next thing I've got to work on if I'm going to create the garden I want. So there is an analogy, you know. It's ask yourself, you know, what do you naturally need to be doing at the moment? What is life pushing you towards? I talk about this in the videos about psychics, say spirit guides. I can't remember the titles of my own videos, but check those out. Actually, they're all there on the channel, and I do go a lot into that there. It's really kind of important to be going with the flow. This is why it matters so much to go with the flow, and psychics and spiritual people are always urging you to go with the flow, because the flow is, you know, it's what's come around you. Maybe some of it you created yourself, but it's the world you live in too. Going along with that flow is the only actual way to get out of that flow. It'll change the flow if you want it to be different. You've got to run with it first, you know. Now the book also says, have I healed old karmic patterns and forgiven myself as I have forgiven others? Now there is a question. That is a real tricky one. That's something that many people struggle with, because the way of the world is, and pretty much always has been, kind of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And if someone's wronged you, then why should you be good to them? Well, the bottom line is, we've just got to keep trying to infuse love into this world all the way along. So there is card number 2. Those are the things to think about with that issue of karma there. Now it is number 20 in the major arcana. Number 21 is called Ascension, and that is really what it's all about, and that's the last card in the major arcana. It would be the World card. So this is just before everything comes together, so it's only second place. We've got 3 more cards to go, but it's a very interesting place to be indeed. Card 3. Higher self in position 3. Now this one is the heart of the matter. This is a horseshoe spread, and it is the heart of the matter. This essentially is what it's all about. Excuse me, I'm sort of bobbing about in the light here, which is a bit disconcerting. Let me get out of the way. That's better. The higher self. Right, now we were talking a fair bit about the higher self in the last 2 cards actually, because they both do come into it. The 7 of crystals is that journey, the journey through life, which is forever getting you more and more in touch with your higher self and what it's all about. And in the karma card we can see the 1,000-petal lotus flower at the top there. Now that's number 20 in the major arcana. We're now on the higher self, and that is number 2 in the major arcana. So this is actually the I believe this is the High Priestess actually in the usual reading of the tarot, in the way it usually is. And here she is. She looks not exactly confused, in fact not confused at all, but just not knowing what the next steps are. And I'm sure actually that's just about where all of us find ourselves at the moment. We might have some plans for the next steps physically in life. We might not, you know. You can't get away with planning things all the time. Nothing ever goes the way you plan, as an old song said. But we're seeing the journey here again with the higher self. There's a very brightly coloured cosmos behind the High Priestess. And there are the 2 pillars representing the 2 kind of ways up from Earth that everybody has to take, one or the other. Bina and Shokma, the 2 pillars that lead up the tree of life. There is of course another way up the tree of life, and that's a spiritual way. And that space lies between the pillars, and that's what's behind the High Priestess there. There's water everywhere, it's emotions. It's not going to be an easy journey. And as we've already seen, that is really the case for 21. Nothing easy about 2021 at all. A lot easier than last year actually, a lot easier than 2020, and a lot more opportunities to actually be our own self and to let the higher self lead the way. So that's the heart of the matter. That's what really is important, you know. And to work on the higher self, it's worth thinking about, it says in the book here, what psychic vision is showing me the truth about the situation? How am I connecting to my higher self to find my answers? Well, there's something to ask yourself. If you picked card number 3, what psychic vision is actually showing you? What is psychic vision showing you? What are your dreams telling you, I guess? And what are the circumstances, perhaps the most unexpected circumstances that you find yourself in at the moment? What are they actually telling you? How could you get to be in a better place? Well, your higher self knows the way. It is quite a journey, but your higher self can help you find your way there. It also says in the book, what hidden knowledge can I access? When I still the mind, when the mind is quiet, you know. So there's an invitation to meditate there, to really get in touch with that higher self. Certainly listen to your dreams, write your dreams down. I'm always telling people that it's so important to write your dreams down. We lose sight of our dreams within a few minutes of waking up. So have that pencil or pen and a piece of paper somewhere near the bed so you can write them down, because it's a lot of spiritual communication from spirit guides and our gatekeepers. Well, falling off my words, our gatekeepers and the angels. All that communication comes in our dreams. It's all about the higher self, though. So it is actually a lot of what's in our subconscious minds already is trying to come out, and will be trying to come out right through this year. So that's the heart of the matter. So we've got the 7 of Crystals and Karma on the way here. What is on the way out of it? Card 4. In the Major Arcana, this time we've got number 19, and it's Solar Deity. So we're certainly linking to the ancient Egyptian wisdom, which was all about the sun gods. There was a pharaoh who tried to change all that, but it only lasted sort of one little bit of a dynasty, and then the Egyptians went back to the sun as the ultimate deity. And it's a lot to do with the higher self again, actually. This is number 19 in the Major Arcana. It is absolutely full of fire, and again, as I said, all about the higher self. The question here in the book, anyway, is, am I ready to honour the true light of my soul? Now, if you picked all 5, this is a crucial part of the journey. If you just picked number 4 on its own, this is also a crucial part of the journey, maybe more so for you if you picked number 4. This is what number 4 is all about. We've got the sun represented there in a way that we can actually look at it. Even though it's fire, there's white light at the top, which kind of gives that suggestion, as in, you know, the actual real sun in the sky. We can never look excuse me, we can never look straight at it or we'd burn our eyes out. I did try once, actually, during a solar eclipse, and what a crazy thing to do. I wish I hadn't done that. I think I've permanently damaged my eyesight. That's probably why I wear glasses to this day, actually. But I did get something came in very, very strongly to me. In fact, I'll throw the story in for your entertainment and approval here. My girlfriend at the time was pregnant, and we looked up at this solar eclipse, which was in early 2000, and well, I looked straight at it. She didn't look straight at it, but I did. And it seemed to be a portent of doom. That's all I can say. It was a very kind of quick flash of inspiration. But in the dreams that came to me after that, I started kind of seeing things which really turned out to make sense in the months after, although I would never have thought it at the time. Lots of things actually went wrong. My daughter was born. She never went wrong. She's great. Absolutely love her, and we're still in touch, and it's all good. And it was all good. But things weren't good for her mum at all, and as a couple we went through a lot of trouble along the way, and I kind of saw all that in that solar eclipse. Although, as I say, at the time it was just like a flash of something. I could have just easily written off what I felt as my own misgivings, my own worries about bringing a child into the world, and they were all tied up with it for sure. But the sun was telling me something, or was it the moon telling me something? Who knows? But the moon is lit by the light of the sun, so whatever it was that I was seeing was lit by the sun and was all coming from that solar eclipse. Now then, solar deity. Many cultures have followed solar deities, have believed in solar deities, not least the ancient Egyptians, as I was saying, because people who really get into spirituality eventually get that the sun is sort of the boss. It's the boss of this part of the universe. It's totally in charge of our solar system. Nothing could happen, nothing could grow, no one could live without sunlight. And the book is saying these questions apply. Am I ready to honour the true light of my soul? Do I recognise the beauty of my being? How can I be a lighthouse for others to share in the bliss of being so connected to Source? What wonderful thing is unfolding before my very eyes? Do I appreciate all that is given? And so I think actually I said a fair bit just before I read those questions out, which would be pointing in the right direction about that. We get signs, we get symbols, we think we know where we're going, but it's always worth questioning that. It's always worth trying to fit into our vision of the journey ahead and what is actually coming up in life. So that is card number 4, Solar Deity. Card 5 is the Sage of Crystals. This is the actual last card. If you picked all 5, this is what it's really all about. This is where the message to take away from this reading really comes together. If you just picked card 5, well, this is certainly your card. And we've got this lady very much tangled up with nature, I suppose, and that's actually a very natural state, because we are all so tangled up with nature. Even if we live far away from anywhere, we can actually kind of walk in a green field or by a nice cool river or anything like that. The earth is actually not far beneath our feet wherever we are. Even if you live in a great big city, everything there is actually built on mud, built on earth. So we are all close to nature, and the Sage of Crystals, it's that sagacity, that sageness that really matters in making sense of all this, because everything I've said about 2021 has been to do with the way it affects our world, what we live in. And if you see it as a fish tank, you know, if the water gets contaminated, all the fish get it. There's no stopping it. And that's what it's like, really. This is telling us there's no escape from the goddess energy. And why would we want to escape from it? Sometimes we need a crystal ball to actually make sense of it, and the Sage of Crystals knows this and is consulting her crystal ball there. She's also looking up and looking forward, and she's kind of got her eyes at least half closed in a state of meditation there, and that's where the true answers lie. That's what really brings forward the knowledge that matters. You know, you can watch as many videos as you like, you can read as many books, you can own as many tarot decks as you like, as I'm finding out actually, because I've got even more tarot decks than I like at the moment. I've got loads and loads of them, and got the Keepers of the Light Oracle cards, which I shall have a quick look at in a minute as well, see if we can get some more information about this. But anyway, I digress. No matter how much of all this kind of stuff of life that we have, that we own, the experiences that we've been through are all a bit like things that we own as well, because they all become part of our life. We've got to look at the whole picture, you know, and the Sage of Crystals is doing that, and she's doing that by, she's, you know, in the right place, she's in nature, so ground yourself in nature and meditate your way, friends, into that situation, into that position where you can actually see what it's all about in your mind's eye, in the eye of your higher self, as it were, because the higher self is the heart of the matter here. And then you'll know what questions to ask yourself, and you'll find a great many answers to your questions. You really will. So there we go. There is the 5-card horseshoe tarot spread from the Sirian Starseed Tarot for the new moon in 2021. So we're definitely looking at a lot of change this year, and what's very clear from that reading actually is that it's all in the soul. I was almost going to say all in the mind, and in many ways it is, but it's all in the soul. And of course the soul is all about the mind, and the subconscious mind as well, the mind to which we don't have access. So a big, quite fast-paced changing year coming up ahead of us for absolute certain. But you know, I'm almost wondering why I even said at the beginning that it was going to be an easier year than last year. Well, physically, you know, it is. It's going to be much easier. We're seeing the kind of death throes of the 2021 challenges and problems playing themselves out now in the world as we look ahead to the rest of this year. Once we get beyond January the 20th, for example, one big load of trouble is going to have been sorted out once and for all, one way or the other. And I don't see it being a troubled year like that. But like I said at the beginning, January is a kind of a building site, not just for the rest of 21, but for the future going forward just about as far as we can see. In fact, probably even further than we can ever imagine, because it's all to do with getting closer and closer to the age of Aquarius, which is a long way off yet. But you know, that's the next thing, that's what's coming up. In astrology, for example, we always look at the applying aspects, things that aren't necessarily happening yet but are about to happen. Like at the moment, we aren't in Mercury retrograde, but it's worth thinking about Mercury retrograde starting on the 30th of January. You know, it's coming towards us, so it's in all our thoughts, it's in our hearts and minds. Anyway, I did say I would consult with Mr. Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light deck, and it's been quite a long video, a bit longer than I meant it to be already, so I'm just going to pull one card, having a shuffle now. This deck is very appropriate at the beginning of the year because the backs of the cards have all got this Vesica Pisces pattern on, so you know, it's all to do with birthing and what's going to be birthing, what is actually going to be coming into life and happening. So okay, had a shuffle and I pulled out a card. This is the only one I'm going to pull out. Mercury, open communication. And I hope that's focusing for you. Actually, I can kind of see the ring on the front of the camera going back and forth a bit. So I hope you can see that one all right. I'll try to dare to bring it a bit closer in the hope that might actually work for you. Okay, I'm going to have a quick look at it myself. Mercury, open communication. Get a weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. Now, there is a real answer actually to some of the questions that I'm sure we've all got after we saw that 5-card spread that I just did, that horseshoe from the Sirian Starseed Tarot. This is actually how we could make life a lot easier for ourselves in terms of birthing, bringing into being what we want to happen as we go forward into 2021. Speak up with love and be heard. And it's a turquoise coloured bottom strip on the card as well, so there's something to think about. Speak your truth, that is so important. And of course the other side of that is listening. You know, the truth goes both ways. If we speak it, then hopefully we'll hear rather a lot more of it. Anyway, that is it for today's show. That is it for today's reading. I'm intending to go live on Tuesday night, Tuesday the 12th of January. It's going to be 8:30 p.m. at night UK. It's going to be in the day in the USA. It's going to be 2:30 p.m. Central. So I hope you can work out the time in your part of the world from that. I'll get going, we'll get the live setup going again. It was fantastic last time. I did say I was going to do these on Wednesday, but since Tuesday is New Moon Day, I think we'll do it on Tuesday, eh? Makes sense to me. What about you? I hope it does. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching. Do give me a massive great fat thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Leave me a comment guys, tell me what you thought about all this. Which card did you pick? Where did it take you? And you know, that way we get to share the journey, which is always a real fun part of these videos for me. Do hit the subscribe button please if you haven't already. That makes a massive difference actually to the channel. I really need to keep those subs up above 1,000 so that the live videos can keep on coming, and I think that's what people seem to enjoy most about the videos I'm doing at the moment, when I can get on live and actually pull a card for you personally. So if you haven't been on one of the lives yet, do join us. Tuesday 2:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. here in the UK. I'll go live, we'll go live, because you guys will be in chatting, and you know, we'll see where we get, we'll see what a difference happens. Now, some people who watch I know aren't actually signed into YouTube and don't have a YouTube ID. Well, if you have a Gmail address, that actually works to sign yourself into YouTube with. And if you can sign into YouTube, it only takes a second to create an account actually, then you can really take part in the live, because you can kind of say hi and then I know you're there and I can pull you a card and give you a bit of a reading. And I only ever kind of seem to get about 15-16 people on the lives, which is great because it means I can actually do a card for everyone. In fact, last time I think I did 3 cards for everyone. So join us, that is coming up. Meanwhile, friends, have a fantastic time ahead. More readings coming up very, very soon. I really look forward to talking to you guys again in the immediate future. So, love, light, blessings to you, and peace.